prejudice?
Right, well, my name's Don Crabtree, and I come from Headingley in Leeds. I'm an insurance salesman working for the Ribble Mutual Widows Benevolent Society, and I travel over 400 miles every week in my work, which doesn't leave me much time for a hobby, but I do like a drop of real ale.
Oh, hello. My name's Dora Entwistle, and I'm from Liverpool, and I work in a factory and I've got 3 kids and a husband.
Hello there, I'm Angus Macpherson from Glasgow, which is in Scotland, of course. Morag, my wife, and I have 8 children, so it's quite a large family. And I have a general medical practice in the town, so I keep pretty busy.
My name's Gwyneth Jones. I live in Gwent, which is South Wales. I'm a housewife with 2 children, and my husband's a miner.
My name's Wayne Roberts, and I come from Birmingham in the Midlands. I work in a car factory, and I like to play football at weekends. I got married last year, and we got a little girl aged 4 months. We'd like to have a boy next time.
Well, I work as an assistant matron at Budley Salterton Infirmary. That's what the locals call it. I live in Exeter, which is in Devon. Oh, my name is Jill Carpenter, and I've got 3 children. There's not a lot of work in the area, so most of my cases are, well, some of the lads from the farm with agricultural injuries, that sort of thing.
Hello, my name's Laurie Morrison, and I'm from Whitley Bay, which is up near Newcastle in the northeast of England. I'm unemployed at the moment, but me hobby's playing football and watching it on the telly, like.
My name's Tracy Sparrow, and I come from Hounslow in London. I work in a shoe shop in Richmond High Street. I never really go away on holiday because, well, I just think London's the greatest city in the world and I wouldn't want to leave it.
Making your point. Jenny Macpherson is the managing director of GB Electrics. She's talking to a marketing meeting.
Now we come to the most important item on today's agenda. That's item 7, the GB Express coffee maker. I think all of you have reports for the meeting, yes? Well, we'll hear them in a moment. I haven't seen them yet, and so I'll make my remarks as brief as possible. I'd just like to point out a few problems. Over the years, coffee consumption in Britain has been increasing rapidly and is now around the same level as tea consumption. That's the good news, if you're selling instant coffee. During the same period, coffee has become a weak, warm liquid with little flavour or taste. In other words, coffee has become more and more like English tea. You know the joke about our canteen here. How do you know which is coffee and which is tea? The tea comes in blue cups. When we began selling filter machines, our initial sales were low. On the other hand, the profit per machine was high, and what is more, sales have doubled in almost every year since then. The British public are slowly beginning to develop a taste for real coffee, by which I mean filter coffee. Our new machine, or so I've heard, is a great improvement. Imported machines from Italy and Holland are beginning to sell well, and unless we make a positive move, we'll be too late. The public will identify espresso coffee with imported machines. After all, they are an Italian invention. From another point of view, we could say that a British manufacturer will not do well in this market, and that we might be safer to promote our filter machines, which of course are considerably cheaper. The last thing I want to say before hearing your reports is that I still have an open mind. It's up to this meeting to come to a conclusion either way.
The Parkhurst Talkabout.
Good evening and welcome again to the Michael Parkhurst Talkabout. It is now some years since the government introduced the Sex Discrimination Act, which was intended to ensure equality of opportunity for men and women. We wondered whether the act had been successful, and our 4 guests tonight are discussing the general question of equality of opportunity. Bernard Blackburn, journalist and broadcaster.
In my opinion, we shall never create real equality of opportunity by making laws about newspaper advertisements. You know, you have to advertise for a salesperson nowadays rather than a salesman or saleswoman. I'm not saying that these things are unimportant, but basically, by the time children get to 4 or 5, they have already been conditioned into their social roles. It starts in the cradle. Girls in pink, boys in blue. I heard about an experiment a few years ago where they took a small baby and dressed it in blue. Then they asked several mothers to play with it. They bounced it up and down and tickled it and said things like, "You're a rascal, a real little devil," and, "Ooh, what a big, strong boy you are." And they laughed when it yelled and shouted. Well, then they dressed the same baby in pink and got another group to play with it. They cuddled it and said, "Aren't you pretty? What a lovely little girl." As soon as it got noisy, they tried to hush it and calm it down. Now, that's where sexism begins. And that's long before we give the girls dolls and toy saucepans to play with and give the boys cars and guns.
Helen Grant, university lecturer.
I feel there's a long way to go before we can talk about equality of opportunity. Men still expect their jobs to take priority. Even where both partners work, too many men still expect a woman to cook meals and do housework. I mean, go into a supermarket at lunchtime. It's full of working women giving up their lunch hour to do the family shopping. How many men would expect to do the same? They're probably spending the lunch hour laughing and joking about women. The same old tired jokes go on forever. Women drivers, mothers-in-law and sexy secretaries. Secretaries, that's another absurdity. Imagine an office where a man and a woman are doing similar jobs. She's called a secretary, he's called a trainee manager. Of course, this is how so many firms avoid obeying the law on equal pay, by altering the job description. The media, as always, I'm afraid, is so much to blame. Magazines, TV, film and advertising portray women as sex objects, not people. Women are blackmailed into buying useless products because they might fear they're unattractive without them. Too many of us accept the stereotype and waste our time worrying and dieting to fit some imaginary male ideal.
Dr. Alice Lee, a general practitioner.
Equality, yes. Well, I'm a doctor, so I suppose you could say that I have an interesting, rewarding and important job. However, I have experienced tremendous prejudice from male colleagues. And after all, while there are plenty of women doctors, most of the surgeons and top consultants are men. The argument's always the same, in all spheres of activity, that women will leave the job to have babies. Of course, not all women want to have babies, so this is tremendously unjust. Personally, I did want children. I've got 2, and I stopped work to have them. Children are always forgotten in the argument. I've always felt that it is a very narrow view of life to value a person purely in terms of job status. I believe we should remove the barriers against women at work. But I also do not see myself only as a working person, Dr. Lee. Being a mother is a very important social role, and we need to reassess our view of motherhood and to regard it as equally valid as any job. It is absurd to think a woman is more successful as a prime minister than as a mother. Of course, this is equally true for men. Couples who have swapped roles, where the mother has gone out to work and the father has stayed at home, will tell you that both jobs are equally important, and even that being at home is more demanding emotionally and physically.
Rosemary Valentine, romantic novelist.
Perhaps I come from a different generation. When I was a girl, things were quite different. I enjoy having doors open for me. I like it when men stand up as I enter a room and make sure that I'm seated before them. I feel that the romance has gone out of life today. I used to love getting dressed up for a party, having my hair done and so on. I never felt inferior, just different. I wouldn't want my husband to help me in the house, and I'd feel strange if he did. I also can't worry about all this fuss about words. We're supposed to say chairperson rather than chairman. I don't dislike it, but I don't see it as terribly important. I think my husband is a typical example of a male chauvinist pig, but I like him that way.
Rules and Regulations. 1. Charles Orson.
Well, of course, I started in Hollywood right in the middle of the Hayes office days. And, you know, we had to show them scripts before we started filming. I'm not sure how carefully they looked at them, but it was a good thing for us. You see, it's pretty expensive to film a 5-minute scene which you later have to throw away because of one wrong word. It was much easier to discuss it beforehand. Sometimes it was pretty absurd. I remember a script in, 48 or 49, where the Hayes office sent it back and said, "You can't use this. There are 3 dams, 2 hells, and 1 blast in this scene." We got back to them and said something like, "It's essential to the story." So they say, "Okay, but you'll have to cut it down a bit. You can have 2 dams, 1 hell, and scrap the blast." I thought that was pretty silly. I mean, either it's wrong or it isn't. Mind you, some of the things they said were sensible. You weren't allowed to show how to pick a lock, and you weren't allowed to show how to kill yourself, for example. No, we often laughed at them. Censors are never popular, but the code gave us a discipline. I mean, some beautiful images came onto film because of it. You were forbidden to show something on screen, so you'd have to use an image instead. Butterflies whirling round, or waves on a beach. You know, the kind of thing. Nowadays, it's all too direct, too obvious. There's no mystery left in the cinema. I was against censorship all my life. But when I see some of the stuff little kids are watching, I think maybe it's gone too far in the other direction. I mean, you have to draw the line somewhere. You really do.
2. Bourne Hall. Julie is a new student at Wessex University. She's just arrived at her hall of residence, Bourne Hall. She's talking to Tricia, a second-year student.
Hi, I'm Tricia Lambert. I think we're going to be neighbours.
Oh, hello. I'm Julie Morgan. Yes, I suppose we are.
Are you new here?
Yes. I've just been looking at these regulations. I don't suppose it was worth bringing my cassette player.
Oh, why not? Everybody's got one. Oh, I see. You've been reading the rules. Well, look, Julie, it's a matter of common sense. Nobody's going to stop you playing it. It's not like that. It's just that you mustn't stop other people working.
No, I wouldn't want to do that. I won't play it late.
You don't have to worry. All you've got to do is check with the others on this floor. Usually they won't mind a bit of music.
But it's not allowed after 11.
You're not supposed to play it late, of course. But I'm sure you'll find it's all right sometimes.
3. On the bus. Annette's on a bus.
Oi, you can't stand there.
Sorry?
I said you mustn't stand there, love. You're in a driver's way. Go on, move back.
I'm terribly sorry. I didn't realise. But there's no need to be rude about it, is there?
4. On the beach.
Come on, Sam! Kick it over here! Come on!
Oi! You 2 lads! Stop that!
Stop what?
Stop kicking that ball around. It's against the regulations.
Eh? What regulations?
Can't you read, son? No ball games on the promenade. It's not allowed, see?
Why not? We're not doing any harm.
It's a regulation, that's why. You can play football on the beach, that's all right.
Well, there's no room on the beach.
Well, you can't play here. Go on, get a move on.
Alas.
Hello? Hello, is anybody there? Oh, Lord, my head's splitting. Oh, Mary, there you are. Bring me some coffee. Some black coffee.
Oh, you should be in bed, ma'am. That's what the doctor said he did.
Bed? How can I sleep with all this going on? Bring the coffee, Mary.
Ah, this is a surprise. We haven't seen you at breakfast for years. What's happened? Summer sale at the off-licence?
That's enough. Just like your father, you know. Just like him.
But a bit brighter, eh? Just a bit brighter.
I sometimes think you're worse. You're not like me. Not at all like me.
Thank goodness for that.
Hello. Nice to see you up so early. Good morning. Has anybody seen my husband yet?
Why? Has he left you?
Very funny. No, I just thought he'd be here. He said he was going straight down to breakfast.
Perhaps he's run away. Wouldn't be the first time for you, would it?
What do you mean? Come on, what are you trying to say exactly?
Yes, leave her alone. There's no reason to start on her.
Hello, everybody. What's all the fuss about, eh?
It's nothing, darling. Just your delightful brother, as usual.
Just my sense of humour, that's all.
I thought I told you to leave her alone.
Do you often have to say that to people?
Why,
What's going on here? Can't we have breakfast in peace for once? Sit down, both of you. I won't have squabbling in the house. Well, when I was a lad, I'd done 2 or 3 hours' work before breakfast. I didn't get where I am today by squabbling. Where's my scrambled eggs? I've got a meeting at 9 o'clock.
A meeting? You didn't tell me about a meeting.
He's been having private meetings for years. What's her name?
Leave it out. I haven't got the time or the patience. I suppose that layabout isn't up yet?
That's no way to talk about him. After all, he is your...
Good morning, everyone. Hello, darling. I'm sorry I'm a little late. I couldn't find my eyeliner.
Hello, darling. You look splendid. By the way, I might be late tonight. I've got to see somebody.
That's all right, my sweet. Milk, dear? Oh, you must let me introduce you to my hairdresser, dear. You've been neglecting yourself since, well, you know. Oh, I am sorry. I did promise not to mention it again.
Come on, love. It's nearly a year now.
It was his own bloody fault, anyway.
There's no need, you oaf.
Help! Everybody! Come quickly. She's in the pool. The swimming pool. I think she's dead.
Relay.
This is Craig Walton of Southern Radio Sport, here at the Intercity Athletics Championship at Wembley Stadium. I've just heard that they're ready to begin the draw for one of the week's most popular events, the men's 4x100 metre relay. So we're going over to the committee rooms.
Testing, 1, 2. Testing, 1, 2. Can you hear me? Right. We are going to begin the draw. The first 4 teams out of the hat will be in the first heat. And they are South London on the inside track, Brighton, Bristol, and York on the outside. In the second heat, testing, 1, 2. I think there's something wrong with this microphone. 1, 2. Oh, it's okay. We have Exeter on the inside, Newcastle, Dover, and Swansea. And in the third heat, we shall have Leeds on the inside, Liverpool. Quiet, please. Quiet! And... which switch? Oh, it's on again. Sorry about that. 1, 2. Liverpool, Cambridge, and Nottingham. And in the fourth heat... 1, 2, 1, 2... The teams will be Oxford on the inside, Glasgow, Birmingham, and finally Manchester. That completes the draw for the... 1, 2, testing, 1, 2...
Now listen to the heats. 1.
They're lining up now for the first heat. They're ready.
On your marks. Set.
They're off to a flying start. Waters from South London's taken the lead as they round the bend. Then Gates, Tankard, Bell, Singh's taken the baton. Minster's in hot pursuit for York. Then the Bristol boy as they come up to the third stage. And it's Marley for London really moving there and riding. These two are well ahead into the fourth stage. Minder stumbling and the York boy is moving through. Yes, it's Roundtree in front. Then Minder straining to catch him. And that's it. Roundtree of York is first. Minder from South London second. Then Bristol with Brighton at the rear.
2.
If you've just joined us, we're at the start of the second heat in the men's 4x100 metres relay. In many ways, this is the weakest heat with none of the favourites in it. They're on the blocks, Exeter in the orange on the inside, then Terry from Newcastle, Castle from Dover, and Llewellyn from Swansea in the green vest.
On your marks. Set.
Oh, something was wrong with the start there. They're going back to the blocks. Very nerve-wracking when that happens.
On your marks. Set.
Oh, and Castle's surging into the lead, going like a rocket. The other three bunched together. And at the baton, it's still Dover. Nothing to choose between the others as they come to the second change. And it's Dover, well in front in the yellow. More of Exeter making a challenge. Is he moving? Round to the last change, and Ferry's blocking Penburn of Exeter. Penburn can't get through. What is Ferry doing? And at the tape, it's Ferry of Dover from Penburn, Exeter, and D.F. Jones of Swansea, and North limping home for Newcastle. Of course, he injured his foot in the hurdles. But wait. Ferry has been disqualified for pushing. What a pity for Dover. After a great race.
3.
Well, many would say that this was the strongest heat, perhaps the one most likely to produce the champion team. Cambridge must be the outsiders here, with Liverpool the clear favourites. But you can't write off teams like Leeds and Nottingham, who were so narrowly beaten last year. Sharp of Liverpool is just looking at his shoes. No trouble, I hope, for the Jamaican lad who's run so brilliantly for Liverpool. No, they're getting ready.
On your marks. Set.
And Sharp explodes into the lead with Clough just behind him and Lomax pounds ahead of Jones. But they're all keeping together at the baton, and Nottingham takes the lead after a clumsy change by Liverpool, now falling back into third place behind Leeds as they come up for the next change. That was better for Liverpool. Harrison is forging ahead, but Lawrence is keeping up with Nottingham. Chatterley takes the baton from Lawrence just ahead of Lenton, but these two are neck and neck and going like the wind. And at the tape it's a photo finish, but I think Liverpool just ahead there. Yes, that's confirmed. And Liverpool have set a new British record of 38.12 seconds. In fact, the first three have all bested the previous record.
4.
Lining up for the final heat.
On your marks. Set.
It's Bob Bruce in the lead from Vic Aston and Billy Kramer. What an athlete Bruce is, marvellous runner. And Macbeth's going to take himself into a good lead now for Glasgow, then Birmingham, then Manchester, with Oxford trailing as we come into the bend, and Campbell's off to a bad start. Look at Thompson. He's making a strong challenge, going past them all for Oxford. He's ahead of Glasgow at the change, and Hartley just has to run home. Yes, they can't catch him now. He's over the line with McLeish taking a good runners-up place for Glasgow. A great run from Thompson there.
Now listen to the semi-finals. 1.
There's a tremendous atmosphere here at Wembley as we wait for the first semi-final in the men's 4x100 metre relay. The first runners are getting prepared, and who can predict the result? York are the surprise semi-finalists, and a lot of people are shouting for them. On the other hand, Nottingham must be the logical choice, just beaten by Liverpool in that record-breaking third heat. Then again, Glasgow seemed unlucky in the fourth heat. They're on the blocks.
On your marks. Set.
It's Clough into an early lead in the white and red for Nottingham, with Bruce and Gates fighting for second place. Coming up to the change, and Forrest keeps the lead for Nottingham, running beautifully. Then Minster in the all-white strip for York. Macbeth into the second change. And Campbell's chasing Lawrence of Nottingham. It's anybody's race. York's just behind as they go for the change. But Chatterley has dropped the baton. Chatterley has dropped. York are well ahead, and Glasgow run into second place. What a turnout for the book. York are in the final for the first time, and Chatterley is on the ground utterly dejected. But over now to the javelin. 2.
Perhaps the second semi-final is a little more predictable. We have 4 good teams, but Liverpool must be unbeatable. That's Sharp talking to Waters, both men, of course, in the Olympic team, but that doesn't mean they won't be doing their best to beat each other today. They're getting ready. Oxford in dark blue, Liverpool red, South London white, and Swansea green. We're ready.
On your marks. Set.
And it's Sharp, Hornby in the blue, then Swansea in green, with Waters trailing for South London. They're coming. They're into the change. Beautifully taken for Liverpool by McCartney. And Cole of Oxford fighting Singh for second position. Bryn Jones lagging for Swansea. It's a race for second place, surely now, as Harrison races ahead. He's nearly 20 metres in front now as he comes up to pass the baton to Lenton. Oh, he's well ahead. Maybe this could be a record breaker again. Lenton's across the line, then Harley for Oxford, just a touch in front of Minder for London. Let's get the time. 38.09 seconds. Liverpool have just beaten their new record.
Now listen to the final.
Well, after yesterday's semi-final, there can't be much doubt about who's favourite for today's 4x100 metre relay. Liverpool are on top form, and the less experienced teams from York, Oxford and Glasgow must realise the fight is for the second place. But no race can be a 100% foregone conclusion as we line up for the final. Sharp, as usual, takes the start for Liverpool. Oxford have changed the running order, with Thompson opening and Hornby taking the third stage.
On your marks. Set.
Gates for York, first off the line, but Sharp's with him. Thompson passes Bruce. They run for the changeover, smoothly taken. They're all together, not much to choose between them. McCartney edges to the front, but Cole's going like a steam engine. They're into the second change, and it's got to be Liverpool. Harrison pulls away from Hornby. Riding and Campbell are both close, very close. The third... And Lenton is down. He's down, and Oxford fighting to catch York desperately. Lenton's up, but at the line is Oxford. Oxford by a hair's breadth from Roundtree of York.